What is going on, Brooklyn Net fans? Hello, everyone, and welcome back here into the show. Connor Long, Gary, Dylan, all with you guys right here on this Saturday, July 19th, 2025. Make sure you smash that like button and hit subscribe on your way into the building. It's completely free, and it helps us all grow significantly here on the show. Throw all your questions, comments, thoughts in the chat. We will get to those. We appreciate all of your support, as always, coming to you guys with a three-person panel today, a simulcasted stream on Dylan and Gary's channel, of course, the BK Nothing But Nets podcast, and my channel, the Brooklyn Boys Show. So appreciate you all joining us right here on this Saturday afternoon. Hope everyone has had a great start to their weekend, a great start to their Saturday thus far. Gary, how you doing? Happy Saturday, and boy, a lot to get into today.
It's good to be back. It's been a few days. Some Cam Thomas news, so I don't want to waste too much time. Follow me and Dylan at Nets Press. Check us out. We go live several times a week. Nothing but Nets. I'm struggling today. I didn't sleep last night. BK Nothing But Nets podcast. Check out me and
Well,
Dylan.
Gary, you didn't sleep at all.
Yeah, no, I was. Yeah, I didn't.
I'm telling you, the side job for him, he's Batman. I'm convinced. Guy just doesn't sleep.
Nah, I'm trying to sleep as little as possible.
Dylan, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. Just doing the usual, fighting people on Twitter. But yeah, appreciate you guys for having me on. I'm excited to get into this debate today, especially with the topic that we have. So ready whenever you guys are.
Definitely. So yesterday, at this time yesterday, it was a chill day. It was the Nets' final summer league game against the 76ers, which we all admittedly, and we'll have no shame sharing this on the show, all three of us did not watch the game because we had no interest in watching a combination of Justin Hamilton, Tyrese Samuel, Caleb Daniels start for Brooklyn. And, Dylan mentioned it backstage, Brooklyn already load managing their rookies, which is never a good sign to kick off their career in Summer League. Yes, load management in Summer League. All five rookies alongside Drew Timme and some other notable names did not play yesterday during the Summer League game, but it was expected to be a chill day in Nets world. All the reporters coming back from Vegas. And then at about this time, a little after this time yesterday, we look up on Twitter and Cam Thomas is getting into a bit of a scuffle with NBA reporter Zach Lowe. He takes a bit of a shot at Sean Marks. So Zach Lowe was on a podcast and he kind of revealed around the league how Cam Thomas is viewed by other teams. And he said, quote, "The consensus on Cam Thomas, if there is one, and he's got some fans and he's got some mega detractors, but the consensus is kind of like an empty calories ball hog." And then Cam Thomas quote tweeted that and followed it up with, "The consensus, F you and the consensus. This is most likely the same consensus teams who can't guard me and send double teams from jump ball. Why are we double teaming a guy who's not that good? Make it make sense, please." We'll get into his remarks surrounding Sean Marks and his other comments about Zach Lowe in a little bit. But Gary, initial thoughts on those comments straight from Cam Thomas.
Look, he's right. Nobody wants to guard him, right? Like nobody ever complained about having to guard Cam Johnson. Nobody, in the locker room meeting says, "Oh, I want to guard Cam Thomas." He's right about that. So you got to double him, right? And he demands a double team, especially on the Nets, where there's no one that can create their own shot. He's double teamed a lot, and he performed a lot better this year, recognizing the double teams and stuff. But he's right. Nobody wants to guard him. He's a bucket getter. He's built like a fire hydrant. I wouldn't want to guard him, right? Like let me guard Cam Johnson. That'll be an easier night for me. He's a certified bucket getter. That being said, that's all he does. And you can put the stats next to what Brunson was doing at this age or what Spider Mitchell did last year, and I get it. But the narrative is already kind of written on him. Fair or not, it's kind of already written on him, and that he's a one-dimensional, what do they call it? Empty calorie bucket getter. He's going to score 25 for a bad team, and that's kind of how he's viewed throughout the league. And that's what I'm saying. I don't know where we go with him from now. I don't think he's a part of our future, and I'm not saying I don't want him to be a part of our future. I don't think he is. I don't think Sean Marks views him that way. I would love to keep him as a secondary option. I just don't think the Nets view him that way. So if he's untradeable, I don't know what we do with him. I don't think he's going to sign a 3-year, $45 million contract. I don't think he's going to short himself like that.
I think he's a better chance of signing, and I don't mean to cut you off there. I think he's a better chance of signing a 3-year, $45 million contract than a 1-year, $15 million deal.
What would you do? Like 3 year? It's a tough situation because I'd rather just average 25 points a game and then test free agency again next year. You know what I'm saying? There's no one with any money.
No, but here's the thing. For someone who's just coming off a year where he played 25 games, I think he wants some security on a contract, because if he's going into this year on a 1-year deal and he gets hurt and he plays 25 games, this guy's looking at $6-7 million in unrestricted free agency next offseason. I think Cam Thomas would rather take a 2-year, $30 million deal, for example, than a 1-year, $20 million contract.
What you're saying is totally fair, right? But if you're Cam Thomas, you see what Quickly got and what Jalen Green got and what all these guys got. And you're saying, I'm a better scorer than these guys who are also one-dimensional scorers, and I'm a better scorer than all of them. They're getting $30 million. I'm not locking into $15 million a year.
But also, they played more than 25 games the year prior.
I hear you, Dill. I hear you.
I was gonna say the one thing I would say though about Quickly is he at least has the playmaking aspect. Like he got traded to Toronto and was putting up a couple of double doubles here and there with some playmaking.
But he got the contract before he did that, though.
And that's the thing though, right? And this is the problem though with a lot of fans is they use these comparisons of contracts. Like I'm getting it all over my comments on Instagram. Well, Quickly got $32.5 million. Well, Gobert got $35 million, and he just plays defense. Okay, and look how shitty those teams are. Why would I want to give out that contract? I'm not. Yeah, this isn't a participation trophy where somebody plays similar to you in terms of value and you get the same thing. You know, if you want to be greedy and you want that money, go play elsewhere.
Yeah, I could say to that Herb Jones is a two-way player and he makes $17 million a year. So should Cam Thomas get half that? You know, like
that's what I'm saying. You can play the comparison game all you want. It doesn't matter about what another player has. It matters about the market that's available currently. And the fact of the matter is nobody has money for him. So as Conor McGregor once said, you'll do as you're told. You're either going to get the money that we're giving you, or you're going to come back on a qualifying offer, and you can either be traded or re-sign or leave in free agency. But either way, you're going to be a net this upcoming season, unless if you're traded.
Absolutely. Now I want to kind of touch on what he said about Sean Marks, kind of a second jab at Zach Lowe. He said, last time speaking on some shit. Empty calories, ? First off, we were the 5th or 6th team in the East before my injury and trades. Can't control what the GM want to do with the team, ... Second ball hog, ? I was second on the team in assists, not counting the point guards traded away and traded for. So Cam Thomas,
not counting the playmakers.
Yeah, I mean that's not your best argument.
Take Dennis Schroeder, who was first in assists on the team. Take Cam Johnson. Take all those guys out of the equation. Take Dorian Finney-Smith out of the equation, and he ranks second in assists. But in all seriousness, an interesting jab there towards general manager Sean Marks. What I have to say overall on Cam Thomas's game is, this has been his game since high school, when he became, Oak Hill's all-time leading scorer in high school, from the time he went to LSU to now when he went to the NBA. And I think that's a valuable asset. But I think the thing that's ultimately going to separate Cam Thomas from a bunch of other guards in the league, there are guys who can score just like Cam Thomas. I think Donovan Mitchell is up there. Well, Donovan Mitchell is not, very stingy on defense. He's not a top defender in the league, but his defense kind of evens out compared to Cam Thomas, who's more of a liability on defense. I think the biggest thing for Cam Thomas throughout his career is if he can get you 3-4 assists a game, and then his defense, you don't need to be a great defender, but kind of even out and be middle of the road where you're not a liability, Dylan.
Yeah, and I've said this all along. I'm a person that values efficiencies and versatility. And when I say versatility, I mean a guy that can play numerous aspects of the game, not just a one-dimensional player. And at this moment in time, for the past 4 years heading into year 5, Cam Thomas has been a one-dimensional player. His only asset at an elite level is scoring, and even so, he does it inefficiently. I don't want to hear excuses about bad teams, shot chucking, whatever it has to be. He's an inefficient 23-point-per-game scorer heading into year 5. That's not anything that deserves pay. That's not anything that deserves franchise player. This is a guy who can score as of right now. And until he shows a second aspect to his game at a star level, to me, he's a one-dimensional player that deserves $15 to $20 million a year.
Gary?
I don't disagree with any of that. I mean, it sucks for Cam Thomas that Jalen Green and Emmanuel Quickly got overpaid. That sucks for him.
See, but they got. Not even to cut you off, but that's the thing, right? We're saying overpaid, but these are guys who were selected 20+ picks ahead of him. It all matters on where they get selected too. Because
that only matters on day one. On day two, it's what he's doing on the field.
Yeah, but contracts are based on pick selection, right? You have a
Your
better
rookie
chance of
deal.
bringing back a guy
Yeah.
that you got drafted, right? But the thing is a rookie max for a guy selected 3rd overall compared to a guy that got drafted 27th overall is millions apart. It's not even close to the same in money. And
Yeah,
that's
but
the
when
thing.
Draymond Green or Jalen Brunson go into negotiations, does anyone say you were picked in the 2nd round? No, that's not. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah,
only
but that was
relevant.
also after his 2nd contract. Draymond Green didn't get a big contract after his rookie year because he was a late pick. You know what I mean? Like you have to prove yourself. Like
If
he has
Cam
not
Thomas is a
proven to
top 5
be
pick, I
anything.
think he'd get $30 million a year, 25, 30.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
that's the
you're
thing,
right. I
and
mean,
he doesn't have
if
the
he was a
accolades
top
to-
5 pick, he'd be viewed totally differently. You're right.
LBL,
You're right.
I like that comment too. It says the argument is Claxton is a one-dimensional player too. I agree, and that's why he doesn't deserve $25 million.
Does anyone like
We all
Claxton's
didn't like the
contract? Does
contract.
anyone like?
Yeah, none of us likes the contract. I mean, it's descending in value, which is nice. It makes it a more tradable contract. But at the end of the day, to be on a rebuilding team as a one-dimensional center who can't score more than 10 points a game, nobody likes that contract. So again, why should we do that for another one-dimensional player?
Yeah, one bad contract should not beget another bad contract. Like we got to end the insanity at some point. Like it's a bad contract. We're not going to keep doubling down, especially when you don't have to. Remember, Detroit offered the same contract to Claxton, and Claxton wanted to stay here, so we just finagled with the term, right? But it was $99 million or whatever. It was $98 million. Detroit offered him the same exact contract or $1 million less. So it was basically the same contract, and he wanted to stay here. And we figured it out. No one else is offering Cam Thomas that much.
That's the point. Yeah, nobody else has the money to do that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, too. And people gave me a lot of shit for this over the last year. And I've been saying this, and I'll back this. Cam Thomas isn't a guy that's going to be on this team for another year and a half. They don't value him as the guy. People can't seem to grasp this concept. This isn't hate. This isn't negativity. This is just facts. 2027 is the year they're trying to build up cap space. Why are they going to give a guy $30 million for the next 3-4 years as he's requesting, when you're trying to maximize your cap space to get guys who are 10 times better players than Cam Thomas is in 2027?
Yeah.
Like
a similar deal that I think had this kind of the same thought process here with Cam Thomas that I think ultimately went up in flames was the Anthony Simons deal with the Portland Trail Blazers, a guy who came in and his role was pretty much set. I mean, was he a bit of a better playmaker than Cam Thomas? Yes, but I mean, that's not as high of a bar. That's not a very high bar to set. Yeah. He goes in after one good season in Portland and gets 3 years, $80 million. And now that whole contract went up in flames. He's no longer even with the Trailblazers. So I think there are some interesting comps over the past few years that maybe haven't gone all that well for maybe a one-dimensional playmaker. I think Cam Thomas comes back to this team on a 1-year deal, but I don't think it's as low as the qualifying offer. I think it's like $8-10 million, 13, 12. Do you guys think there's any chance he comes back on the $5.99 million qualifying offer?
Not a chance. My thing is if he's coming back for 1 year and he's going to test his value, trade him. Because you've already pissed him off enough over the last 5 years. You know he's not re-signing with you in free agency.
Wouldn't you want to hold him to the deadline, though, and see what he can do?
I'd kind of put him up while his value is still high. He played 22 games last year. You don't know if he's going to be healthy by the trade deadline. And whether people want to believe that
isn't every other GM thinking the same thing, too? Like,
not really, because if you have a guy who can score right away, making low money that you don't have to give up an insane player for, I think a lot of teams are going to want to try and capitalize on that. He has the same agent as Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Milwaukee's had interest in him in the past. They can give up a guy making $10 million more than him, for instance, Kuzma, and 2 first-round picks and probably get that done right away. I know nobody likes Kuzma, neither do I. But if you look at his contract, it's $22 million over the next 2 years. It matches up with Michael Porter Jr., and it's also a trade asset at the deadline that you can look to flip for an expiring contract. So it wouldn't surprise me if he comes back on a 1-year deal, that if he's looked to be traded for, because why would you want to risk somebody who is already publicly going head-to-head with people, mentioning some of his weak inefficiencies to the game, who's mentioning GM tactics on trading players? Why are you going to want to take a risk on that for a guy who's shown you in the past that he's not happy here at times? Why take the risk? Why lose him for nothing when you can get something for him?
Well, I feel like letting him walk wouldn't really be. I think you can add another restricted free agent, whether that be Josh Giddey. I doubt Josh Giddey, but a guy like Jonathan Kuminga, perhaps. And I here's the thing. I don't know if the Nets are really enamored with Jonathan Kuminga and they think that he's the guy and they want to give him a pretty significant contract to the caliber of maybe $100 million total over 4 or 5 seasons. What do you think has a higher chance, Dylan? The Nets pay Cam Thomas or the Nets pay Jonathan Kuminga?
I would say Kuminga. And the only reason I say it is because he's worth a little bit more than what Cam Thomas is. He's 6'7". He has the same scoring upside, just not in terms of the points per game at the moment. But he also, like I said, is a 6'7" wing, which is a position of need currently in Brooklyn. And he's also same age with better defensive abilities. He's already shown in the playoffs that he can put up high caliber games. He single-handedly won the Warriors a game last playoffs. I would take him any day of the week, even if it's for $2 to $3 million more a year. At most, right now, I would give Cam Thomas 18 to 21 million. The most I'd give Kuminga is 22 to 23. But again, I'm not giving any of these guys more than 3-year deals. I don't think that these are two guys that are valued as long-term pieces on these teams currently. Kuminga has a lot to prove. Same with Cam Thomas. But the difference is you just drafted 3 guards. You don't need Cam Thomas long-term as of right now. And they kind of showed that with this draft class. So if there's anybody that I think has a realistic chance of being paid a long-term deal for a similar price range to what they're asking for, I think it would be Kuminga.
Gary?
Is the question, what do I want the Nets to do, or what do I think the Nets? Well,
What do you think? What do you think?
I think they're going to go in the direction of Kuminga. They're not going to keep Cam Thomas, and you got to spend the money somewhere. So where would you like him to spend? Do you want him to take on another bad contract to try to get a pick? They're not
I wouldn't mind it.
Okay, then we got enough picks, though, don't we? I'm not against it. It just wouldn't be my first option. We got more than enough picks, right? Like, I'd rather go get the player now. So the question becomes, the only player available is Kuminga, really. Is Kuminga the guy you want? If not, what do we do with the money? Do we just give a bunch of guys 1-year deals? We don't really have roster space. I don't know. The roster construction here is really screwy. But what I agree with Dylan. Cam Thomas is 100% not a part of the long-term plan. You guys
he never has been.
Right. They never wanted him here in the first place, right? And he overperformed as a scorer. When he first got here, like, wow, this guy can score, and he can. But he doesn't fit in here. And if we could get him on a long-term deal for $15 million to $18 million, I would love that, because then we could use him as a 6-man, and you're not really overpaying him. Like, that's okay. That's good pay for a 6-man. That's good.
He won't stay here as a 6-man.
Who are you starting over Cam Thomas, though?
No one yet. But like, when we have a championship team, when we get a star, he fills in that Lou Williams role where he comes off the bench, scores 20 points in 25 minutes, and makes the defense hate their lives. Like, he can do that. He can be Lou Williams.
And that's a valuable asset.
I agree. I've always said it's a valuable asset. If I would compare him to Lou Williams, people would say, "Why are you hating on Cam?" I'm not. I thought that was
Cam Thomas could have the career of Lou Williams, where he gets you 20 a night off the bench, stays in the league for 15, 13 years. That is very, very valuable to NBA rosters.
I agree. And at $15 million, it's not breaking the bank. $18 million, it's not breaking the bank. But contracts are based on stats. We can say that they're not, but they are. And if he averages 25 points a game, which I think he will, he's going to want to be paid, especially when he sees Michael Porter out getting paid 40. He's like, he's getting paid 40. I can't get half that.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Porter Jr. averages 18 as a third option with 7+ rebounds throughout his career. Does he deserve $40 million? No, but was he on a championship team and contributed to winning a championship? Yes. Like, that's the thing.
I agree, but players are just, right? You already see Cam Thomas is just talking about the stats. I average 24 points a game. I average 4 assists. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you did that in a 22-team sample size, below league average efficiencies. Congrats. You're on the worst team in basketball, and you're the only option to score.
His true shooting, I said this to you guys yesterday, his true shooting was the same as Donovan Mitchell's.
And Donovan Mitchell puts up a lot of shots.
And Donovan Mitchell, I think, is a better defender than Cam Thomas is and can play make.
I know. I'm not comparing Cam Thomas to...
Yeah. I like, look at a guy like Darius Garland, for example. Like, I think he is the prototypical NBA guard when it comes with a mix of the scoring. He can play make for you. Is he an ideal situation in Cleveland where he's playing with Donovan Mitchell as his other guard and has Jared Allen and Evan Mobley as his power forward and starting center? Yes, but I think I view Darius Garland as probably a more valuable piece than Cam Thomas, because he's not getting you 25 points per game. That's not who Darius Garland is, but he can get you 17, 19 a night with how many assists did he average last year?
7+.
7+ assists. And is Darius Garland a guy that, opposing teams worry about defensively? No. But his defense overall kind of averages out, and he's not a liability defensively. I would value a guy like Darius Garland more than I would Cam Thomas on a championship winning team.
Yeah, I mean, anybody that can give you 20 and 7 a night is more valuable than a guy that gives you 24 and 3 on low efficiency.
Absolutely.
We talked about this like when Buddy Hield wanted to get paid, when Buddy Hield had it's just the market's not really. I've always said this: if you got two guys, one's built like Kuminga or Andre Iguodala, where he's 6'6", 6'7", can guard multiple positions, can play multiple positions on the court, and he averages 25 points a game. And then there's a 6'2" two guard who can only play the two, who can only defend small guards. Who's getting paid more? It's not even a question, right? And like that's the position Cam Thomas is in. He's not going to get. It's Isaiah Thomas, little IT, averaged 30 a game when you were Boston, right? He never got paid. I mean, it's unfortunate, but for Cam, it's unfortunate. But his game and his side is not going to be valued in free agency. Like the market's not going to pay him $30 million a year.
Yeah, absolutely. And, what he gets, I think, is an interesting question. I think what do you think Cam Thomas would prefer? A 1-year, $15 million contract or a 2-year, $27 million deal? Gary, I'll throw that to you.
He ain't taking the latter, so I'll take the first. He ain't taking the latter. He's not locking in 2 years. Like, he doesn't want to be here anymore, I think.
What about a 1-year deal with a player option?
Yeah, as long as he can get, I think that's ideal for him in case he tears his Achilles, right? Like, but yeah, I think he wants out of here. He's 24. He's young. He doesn't, he wants the money. If he was 34 on his last contract, it'd be different, right? Like, give me the years. Give me the years. At this age, I want the money. Give me the money. I'll go play myself into a bigger contract.
Dylan?
Yeah, I think he'd prefer the 1-year deal as well, and that's the thing is if that's what he prefers, and he's trying to figure out a way to either get the most money or to leave this team at some point for nothing, I'm not trying to do that. You can leave, just trade him.
Yeah, I think he wants some security though. I think that's the biggest thing. I think he wants some security because he tears his Achilles. What is he looking at next offseason in unrestricted free agency? $6-8 million on a 1-year deal. I think he wants to be able to have an option to come back to Brooklyn if all hell does break loose this year. But I don't think he wants to be forced back on a second year. So I think a 1-year deal with a player option for the 2026-2027 season is certainly going to be something interesting to watch. Appreciate you all tuning in. Make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe. Gary, Dylan, and Connor right here with you guys on the show. Subscribe to our channels, Dylan and Gary, of course, the BK Nothing But Nets podcast, and myself, the Brooklyn Boys Show. Appreciate you guys. As always, I know you guys, I know, Gary, we got to let you go in about 5-10 minutes. So before we do so, just quick overall takeaway on Summer League. Now that it's officially in the books, we were chopping it up backstage about this very topic. Gary, quick explanation here. Who should be the final two-way player for Brooklyn?
Amari Bailey, a former net great Amari Bailey. No, look, I don't really. I would give it if I have to give it to one of these guys. If I can't shop outside, I'll give it to Caleb Daniels. He worked his tail off. He played tremendous defense. He hit some shots. Like, he looked like he can play. He could be a 3-and-D guy. I mean, he's 26, so I don't really want to give it to him. But if I have to give it to one of these guys, I would give it to Caleb. He earned it. He worked harder than anybody. He went from a guy I said has no shot of ever making this roster because he's 26 to, hey, maybe we give him a shot, right? But I don't see any upside in him, really. Like, I don't want to give it to him. I'm just saying, if these are my options, it's like in the episode of The Sopranos where Tony Soprano's looking around for his next captain, and he's looking at everybody, and he just looks like Ralph, and he goes, all right, I guess I'm going to go with Ralphie because these other people aren't acceptable, so I'll just go with Ralphie. That's kind of my inkling here on Caleb.
Yeah, Dylan, where are you leaning right now? I know you spoke a little bit about Tyrese Samuel off air. Caleb Daniels obviously played a lot of scrappy defense. Who should be the final two-way player?
I think in terms of who deserves it most, it's Daniels. But at the same time, if you're looking at who is just as deserving of it and also showed a bit more upside and flashes, I think it's Samuel as of right now. Samuel is a year younger than Caleb Daniels. He's 25. He can stretch the floor as a power forward. I think he just brings a little bit more to the team. We're kind of filled up at the guard position. So if it was my choice on the two-way, I'd give it to Samuel.
Interesting. I think someone who's a guard, but I think actually played okay minutes for Brooklyn throughout the summer league was Dre Davis from Ole Miss. I thought he provided the spark from time to time. I don't think he should get the final two-way deal. I think the guy I'm looking at right now, someone who didn't have the best summer league, but I think has the most upside out of anyone in this group right here is Grant Nelson. I know, Dylan, you said off air you think they should straight up sign him to Long Island, but I think when you look at Tyrese Samuel, Caleb Daniels, two guys on the older side already well into their 20s, I think Grant Nelson, fresh out of college, is the guy who gives you the most upside here. Can play power forward, can play the 5 for you if need be. So I'm looking at Grant Nelson. Side note for you guys, Gary, I know you mentioned Amari Bailey. Does anyone know what Armani Brooks is doing right now? Is he still in the NBA? He provided a nice spark for Brooklyn 2 seasons ago. He was shooting the 3 ball nicely. Armani Brooks, two-way deal.
I mean, I would rather give it to a proven NBA vet than like Caleb. Guys, and I like the energy and the effort Caleb Daniels played with in the summer league. I pointed that on the first summer league game. What do you think his upside is? Like, I mean,
Nothing.
I'm being serious.
He's 25 years old.
He's 26. Like
26, even worse.
Why? Like, I don't want. I wanted to give it to Grant Nelson, but he sucks, so I don't want to give it to him anymore. So
I think you have to earn a two-way spot, and that's why I agree with Connor on the
Brooklyn
upside.
hasn't shown that.
I agree. I agree with you in the sense of his upside, but I think a two-way spot's deserved, and not to mention too, you're only eligible for what, two-way deals,
3,
and then you are eligible for 3. I wouldn't waste it on him just yet. He seems like a guy that you can straight up sign to Long Island, let him develop for a year. If he showcases anything special, then he can replace Tucson next year and
they should just cut Tucson, in my opinion.
I agree, but it's a 1-year deal left, and it was a guaranteed two-way spot. So at this point, you ride it out. The whole point of this upcoming season is to suck. We need a top 3 pick badly to really get this right. So for now, I would hold off on that. To me, at least, Samuel, as an older player, he's not only earned it, but he also has showed flashes of some upside, something that we haven't seen in a couple of the guys that we have on this roster, similar in position to Samuel, which is he can space the floor, he can score efficiently in the paint, and he can also defend as well. So I think that's something that could be of value, maybe like a hidden gem off the bench, but I think as of right now, he earned it most.
Gary, you got any final thoughts here before we let you go? So I know you got to run.
I got a couple minutes. I got like 10 more minutes. I can hang out for about 10 more minutes.
Let's dive into the chat again, guys. Keep all your questions, comments, thoughts flowing in the chat. We'll start getting into those. Down under Dunker. I don't like CT's mentality by going on social media and basically saying no one can guard him and having a full-blown sook at a critic. Just tell them you'll prove everyone wrong and move on. Soaky kid. Guys got any thoughts there?
I agree. Until you prove something, stop speaking. And this isn't a shut up and play basketball comment. This is just a straight up, you haven't proven anything in the league and you're going into year 5. You have no accolades. You have not made an all-star. You haven't been close to being an all-star. You don't have a scoring title. You don't have a playoff run that looks of a star caliber player. Stop going back and forth with criticism that is valid and prove yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Gary, have you ever seen a top tier pro boxer go on and suck over social media at some random reporter? It's so immature and weak, to be honest.
Floyd Mayweather did it on Shade 45. He went on to argue with a guy who said he sucks for about 45 minutes. It went viral. This is about 12 years ago. People are overly sensitive in all sports. This is not a basketball, but pro boxing specifically, because they don't get the national media attention that football and basketball players and baseball players get. So they kind of have to go to social media.
Yeah, absolutely. LBL, if Marks was smart, he'd publicly back his player right now and say we're hoping to re-sign him. Marks isn't smart, though.
Not only is Marks not smart, but he also doesn't value Cam Thomas, and we've known that from the start.
If the queen had a pair of balls, she'd be the king, right? Like, but I mean, if Marks was smart, he's not. Like that's out the window.
Again, like you said,
by the day.
I don't think he's truly enamored with Cam Thomas either. So I don't think Marks is not a GM to typically go out and make public proclamations per se. Like he is a guy who keeps it very, very close to the organization.
Marks isn't a GM; he's a scout that is masquerading as a GM.
Yeah, exactly. He posted players like Hero gets $30 million a year. Like he was trying to compare himself to those caliber players. It's laughable. Play a full season and show something as Hero and others have.
Exactly. And here's something that I do want to bring up. The fact that he's bringing up players like Tyler Hero and RJ Barrett as comparisons to what his contract should be is absolutely pathetic. Tyler Hero just made an all-star game, whether it was as a reserve or not, or due to injury or not. The guy was a borderline all-star and became an all-star because of it. He's also a guy that's improved as a scorer, efficiency, and playmaking throughout his career. Cam Thomas hasn't. RJ Barrett averaged 21, 6, and 5 this past season. He's one of the best third options in basketball, and he's going to be playing next to Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram as of right now this year. He's better. This isn't debatable. I don't want to hear anything about skill set scoring. The game is not based on scoring. That's not how you play the game of basketball. Andrew Nembhard is a more valuable winning basketball player than Cam Thomas is currently, and he doesn't score as well as him. Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so scoring means nothing to me. Unless if you're putting up 25 plus at a 50% or higher clip, that you're not doing anything special. So I don't want to hear the excuses anymore on certain players that he needs to compare his game to in terms of contract. He hasn't earned it. Earn your contract. Earn your spot. It's really not hard. If you're that good and you think you're that good, prove it. Stay healthy, play 60 plus games and average 25 plus on 48, 49% or higher shooting. It's not difficult, right? If you're that good, just do it.
Lou says, imagine telling Jokic he was a late pick. But I think Jokic is different. Jokic came in right out of the gate with all odds stacked against him,
and
proved his value, and let's be honest, didn't really get a huge contract till well after his rookie deal. He didn't get he didn't get given a bag right away, for example. Like Cam Thomas, I think, coming off a season where he plays 25 games, I think the bar is I think he has the bar set a little too high for aspirations of a new deal.
He's trying to get paid for what he thinks he can be, and that's the problem. I'm not paying people based on
that's more football. That's more
Yeah.
football. Like in the NFL, that's exactly what happens. That's
you're getting paid to do what you do. You're not getting paid for what you think you can do. And even if you think you can do something, it doesn't mean you're going to do something.
What's Kuminga getting paid for? What do you think he can do?
I think that the max that he should get paid is 21, 22 million. Not 30,
all right. I mean, then you're
to.
not paying him. But I'm saying someone's going to pay him for what they think he can do. Not because he really hasn't done it. He's been in the league 4 years now, and he's never really done it. I mean, he looks like he can. He fits the bill. He's got a tremendous skill set. He's a great athlete, good NBA body. But he's never really been a dynamic player. But he's going to demand.
Like, I'm sorry, but to me, the comparisons, this isn't even close. I saw a comment already basing things off of the year of the player. Tyler Hero in his fourth year averaged 20 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. He played 67 games. The efficiency was low, 44%, but the three-point percentage was above league average at 38%. Like, again, all-around better player. Why do we continuously have these debates trying to compare him to other players? The only aspect to his game that is at an elite level is scoring, and scoring doesn't win you championships.
The only one that's at an NBA level, right? All these guys that has that is an NBA level skill is scoring. Everything else is not an NBA level.
It's like the NFL. You can have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and it doesn't mean you're going to win a championship every year. Joe Burrow, top 5 quarterback, hasn't won a championship. He's only made one. Lamar Jackson
didn't even make the playoffs last year, by the way, and was still
Lamar Jackson, top 3 quarterback, 2-time MVP. Hasn't made it into a Super Bowl yet. Like, you can be great and you're not going to win. Look at James Harden in the NBA. One of the most historic dominant players in basketball in terms of scoring, never made it to an NBA Finals. There are certain things that are valuable in the NBA. You need to be able to play defense. You need to be able to play 2 sides of the ball. The only player that has defied the odds as the number 1 option as a small guard who primarily scores is Steph Curry. And that's it. Damian Lillard hasn't made a Finals. He's one of the best scorers in the NBA at the guard position. Kyrie Irving's never done it as a number 1 option. Like come on, like this isn't debatable anymore. The undersized scoring guard is not of value in the NBA. It is a 3rd, 4th option on a championship team. So we got to stop valuing him as if he's the guy. He hasn't been, he won't be, he's not going to be. I like him, but he's just not the guy.
And how much does a 3rd option get paid? 20 million?
On a championship team, 35. But
that's about what Porter got. That's about what Porter got.
But on a rebuilding team, you're still looking to have that flexibility to where you can bring in the number 1 and number 2 option. You know what I mean? Like, you're not giving up number 1 money to a guy who isn't a number 1. You're not giving up number 3 championship money to a guy who's not even close to being on a playoff contender. It's just he doesn't have the market to do it. He has no say in what he wants right now.
Yeah. He played
I
25
don't
games.
disagree. He's got no leverage. He's got no leverage. None.
Absolutely. Down under Dunker, it's actually sad that Timmy has shown more ability and consistent at basketball than Klatz has shown in 2 years now. Very interesting. I think you got to take what Timmy said kind of with what Timmy showed, kind of with a grain of salt, given that it's summer league. But I think he showed more athleticism. I think he gives more shooting prowess. I still think Claxton might be a better defender at the NBA.
I just saw a comment from Mark. Mark's one of our best commenters in terms of just opposing anything that we say. Well, shout out to Mark, but I want to bring this up real quick. You say that he's a winning player, and when he was healthy, he was on a contending team. That's just not true. We've never contended with Cam Thomas as a starter. Cam Thomas, his record as a starter since becoming an NBA player, he's 29-51. I don't want to hear that he results in winning. Stop. He's 29-51 as a starter.
That only started as 80 games?
And that's going back
there
from
were
2021.
Games, Barry, under Vaughn, I think the Spurs game it was where he dropped 40 points.
Yeah, that's going all the way back to 2021. As a starter, he's 29-51.
He barely started. He barely started under Nash, under Vaughn, under Ollie. There were games he'd score 30 points and then not play the next game. Cam Thomas.
He's never been respected. He's never really been given a fair shake. But you're right. He'd have games he scored 40, and then he'd play 12 minutes the next game. It's like,
or not even play.
Yeah, what are we doing?
And by the way, in these games, right, in this sample size, it's not the full 80 games that it's showing here, but since 2021 up until it shows. Oh, I can do show more. Let's see. I want to see what his full stat line is in these 80 games as a starter. He's averaging 24.4 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, 3.2 assists. He's shooting 44% from the field, below league average. He's shooting 37.6% from three. That's about league average. Let's see. What else does he got in here? I got to find where turnovers is. This list is way too long. Turnovers per game, he's at... Jesus, this is a long scroll. 2.3, so about league average. He's done nothing of star capability outside of the scoring. Points per game, and that's literally it. There's nothing else that stands out and shows that this is a guy who deserves money.
When you're getting double teamed as much as Cam is, you should just happen to fall into assists because you're always being double teamed. That means there's someone else who's not, right? You have the ball in your hand at all times. They're constantly double teaming you. You should fall into assists, but he doesn't.
He has 11 games out of these 80 games where he's had 5 or more assists as a starter since 2021.
11 out of 80.
That's not impressive. You're one out of every 8 games, pretty much. You are putting up more than 5 assists. You're an undersized guard getting double teamed.
All right, I gotta drop off, y'all.
All right, thank you for hopping on, Gary. Appreciate it.
Later, man.
Shout out to Gary joining us here on the show. He got to run, but Dylan and I will carry it through here. Should be on for about another 10-15 minutes. So get all your questions in the chat here before we wrap. Alan says Nets need to find a way to get another first or second, another 1 or 2 first rounders in 2026. At this point, Dylan, how much are these picks really being valued? Because the Nets have so many draft selections, 31 total picks over the next 7 years. If the Nets really, 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 and I understand it's a strong draft class next year, if they really want to get into the top 3 after maybe they don't do the best job of tanking for the second consecutive year, I think you could package a bunch of these picks over the next few years and get into the top 5, the top 3.
I disagree, only because we've seen this in the NFL. We've seen this in the NBA. When you have draft classes of these calibers, teams are not trading out. We just saw it with the Mavericks, who are a playoff team, the Spurs, who can be a playoff team, the 76ers, who will be a contending team. These are all 3 teams that just got top 3, none of which deserved it, by the way. And all 3 didn't trade out, and 2 of them were rumored to potentially trade out. So I'm not banking on trading up. We just witnessed Sean Marks take 5 picks and not trade up. I don't have any trust in him whatsoever. If it's not a top 3 pick next year, we're screwed for a very long time.
You think it needs to be a top 3 pick? I thought this draft class was supposed to be very deep. And
it has to be a top 3 pick in the sense that you didn't draft your number 1 this year, right? And those 3 guys are the only solidified number 1s as of right now. Nate Ament could maybe make a case at 4. There's a couple of sneaky guys in there as well, like Darius Acuff, Mikal Brown. There's a couple of guys in there. But again, 2 of those names I mentioned are guards. We don't need any more guards. Next year's the wing-heavy draft class. You need to go and get a wing. So to me, you got to get one of Peterson, DeBanster, or Boozer. I know Peterson plays the 1 and the 2, but that's a guard that if you're in the realm of potentially being able to draft, you take him no matter what, because he's going to be your Cam Thomas replacement. He is the type of guy at 6'5", 6'6", who can play the 1 and the 2 as a combo guard, but also brings athleticism, high upside defensive ability, 3-level scoring. He's your two-way guard, right? And that's something that I wouldn't be opposed to taking, even though we have guards this year. To me, though, if you don't land a top 3 pick, if it's not Peterson, DeBanster, or Boozer next year, you need to figure out a way into trading up for a second lottery pick, no matter what. I mean, I'm talking give up 3 future firsts plus a player if you have to. Like I don't care. You have to figure out a way though to land. I would say a big and a wing next year in that draft class.
Marlene comes in and says Kuminga doesn't rebound, can't defend his position, can't shoot threes, and can't convert his free throws when he's fouled. He just jumps high. Kuminga sucks.
And everybody has the right to their opinion. I mean, if you're talking about the upside of the player, he hasn't been utilized in that system once. He averages 24 minutes per game. That's 6 to 8 minutes less than what Cam Thomas did this year. So when you're talking about what you've seen from the player so far, there's players who don't develop in certain places that need to be traded to progress in their careers. We've seen that with many players. Look at Josh Giddey in OKC is the most recent example. A guy who could barely start on that team, was barely getting rotational minutes, wasn't valued, and gets traded to Chicago and has a second half of the season that looks like an all-star caliber player. It's all about the system fit. Cam Thomas, not really a system fit here. Maybe there's more to his game that could be seen, but it's not going to be shown in Brooklyn, and that's just my opinion. We all have the right to that opinion. To me, I think Kuminga would be valued a bit more in the system. You need a guy who can play the 3. You already have 2 guards who can play make, and you have one that can space the floor as of right now in Yegor. I don't see the value in Cam Thomas on this team compared to what the value could be of Kuminga on this team.
Lou, the issue you guys overlook is if you're signing and trading him, who's willing to trade that will agree to pay him what he wants? Nobody trading him, playing on his qualifying offer without knowing what they have to pay.
I actually disagree with that. I think if there's a team that values him, that'll give him that verbal commitment of re-signing him in the offseason to what he wants, then he will certainly have no problem going elsewhere. I think a team like Sacramento, Detroit, Milwaukee, I think those are 3 teams that you could really look at as potential Cam Thomas suitors if the time comes. You just saw Detroit lose Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley, one to gambling, the other to free agency. So, to me, I think Detroit is a team that could really value Cam Thomas, and I think he's a perfect guard to put next to a guy like Cade Cunningham, a guy who can play both ends of the floor, but is also a primary playmaker who also averages 23 plus a game. And he also does so efficiently. He's an all-star point guard. I don't want to hear any excuses for Cade Cunningham. He's legit. He's a legit superstar in this league at the age of 24, 23. So I think if there's a team that has a package to do so, but also has the desire to do so, I think it would be one of either Detroit or Milwaukee. And realistically, Jaden Ivey and 2 first-round picks for Cam Thomas, I'm not looking away from that. I would.
Oh, that's a great deal in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's a great deal. Personally, I mean, they could.
I really like Jaden Ivey.
I agree. I like Jaden Ivey a lot too. He's also an expiring contract. You don't know what his value is going to be, but it also gives you one more year to figure out the whole financial situation. So I think if you're looking at a deal like that, I would jump on it immediately.
Sign me up for 18 and 4 a night from Jaden Ivey. I'm perfectly okay with that. And by the way, on a side note from Malik Beasley, I think that whole thing is insane. I don't think him, hammering home a dunk to cover a spread at the end of a game is enough evidence to pretty much blackmail the guy around the league, because this guy he played all 82 games for Detroit last year, if I'm not mistaken. Played every game, did not miss a single game, and now he's a free agent. And it feels like he's one of the best 400 players in the world. He should be on an NBA roster right now, and he's a free agent. So what I think happened is I think Detroit and their front office pretty much told every NBA, GM and front office in the league to shy away from this guy, which is unfortunate because I think Malik Beasley is a very good player. And whether he did it or not, I don't think hitting a dunk at the end of a game to cover a spread is enough evidence to.
I mean, listen, Vegas, when you begin the sports betting world, Vegas owns you, right? And if you're going behind their back to make money or make money for other people, that's taken seriously. And the entire point of gambling as a person who gambles is you're not supposed to win. So when you're putting people in a position, Yeah, when you're putting friends, family, yourself in a position to win by considerably cheating, you're gonna get the highest of punishments. We've seen people domestically abuse their girlfriends and wives in the NFL and the NBA, and they get less punishment than gambling. Like they take
Miles
gambling
Bridges.
seriously, which is crazy, by the way. You
Yeah.
should be banned from the league for beating the hell out of your wife or girlfriend.
Miles
Like,
Bridges.
yeah, Miles Bridge, like Ray Rice finally got exiled after his whole stupid shit. But you've seen guys like Kareem Hunt, and we call him Kareem Punt now because he kicks his
Yeah.
girlfriend or whatever it was. Like, with Deshaun Watson, like we can go on a list of names of people. I mean, I'm a Steelers fan. Ben Roethlisberger, you can make the case that he did it, but proven not guilty. Whatever you want to say. Like,
Yeah.
these guys all get away with those things, but gambling's taken more seriously. It's strange, but Vegas, they have pull. So when you get caught for gambling, if you're in the realm of suspicion for gambling, you're going to get the maximum punishment for it.
Oh, absolutely. The tip off of Brooklyn Nets podcast comes in. Says Tyrese Samuels is nice. Someone says that he reminds them of Thomas Bryant.
It's not a bad comp. I mean, as a backup big, I would not mind that.
I mean, how much upside? Mike, the question I always come back to is how much upside does this guy really have?
I think as a guy who can come in and just prove himself when a guy like Noah Clowney gets hurt, which is inevitable. I love Noah Clowney, but the man is too skinny to be in the NBA at this moment in time, especially at the lower body region. His ankle just goes every 20 games. To see him play, I think there could be some upside in him. I don't mind Samuel at all.
We'll wrap up with this trade proposal right here from Down Under Dunker. Says, yeah, send CT to the Kings, CT and Clax for Sabonis. Let it happen.
No point. Absolutely no point. There's no point in it. Yeah, it's not even just the contract, but we're not trying to win games this year. Like people continuously. This is one of the biggest problems I have with fans because the way that I look at the game is nowhere near the level of what other people as fans look at the game. I'm looking at this as like a 3-year picture, and I've been looking at it since last year. Like this is a 3-year rebuild. You already completed year 1 with Mikal. You traded Mikal. You went into year 2 with Cam Thomas. You didn't bottom out correctly. This is the final year to get it right in terms of drafting rebuild, right? After this year, you're banking on other teams falling and getting good picks, right? You're not banking on being a bottom tier team anymore. So you got to look at it from a bigger picture. Sabonis doesn't fit the timeline currently. There's no reason to go out and trade for a guy who's a little bit older than Claxton and Thomas, who's making a ton more money than both. You're clogging up 2 roster spots for the price of 1, and you're also going to add an extra 3 to 5 games winning because of him. There's just no point. Stay with what you got currently. Take on a bad contract or try and add another first-round pick for next year and move on. You're going to hate watching this year, but we all have lived through it. I mean, I lived through a 10-72 season. You'll be all right. Trust me, it doesn't get worse than paper bags at courtside from season ticket holders. You'll be all right.
Do the Nets even have season ticket holders anymore? Is that a thing?
Who knows? I get a call 3 times a year, and I'm like, I'm not paying that. You're good.
Yeah, I got a call the other day.
People who actually go out of their way, like this is a fun one. There's always a couple of people on Twitter that I'll have debates and arguments with because they love to throw out the I'm the season ticket holder card, like as if that's some prestigious award that gives you the right to have your opinion heard more than anybody else. Season ticket holders don't mean shit. I'm just gonna throw that out there. You're not special. You just pay more money to watch our team lose. Congrats.
Personally, I'd rather just buy tickets 2 days before than buy a 5-game package, for example, because you end up paying more for crappy seats in the 5-game package compared to you just take it game by game. You can get really solid seats at a game for, $150. Instead, you end up paying, $300 a night, and that equates to over, around $1,500, $2,000 for a 5-game package where you don't even have great seats. So
no, it definitely, it's not worth it. I'll never be a season ticket holder for anything. I don't care if I've got the money to do so. It's not worth it to me. I'll go game by game when I please.
Undoubtedly so. I think the Nets have finished last in season ticket sales every year for the past 3 or 4 years. So Brooklyn fan base.
But don't worry. Nets Daily will tell you the attendance record is at 99.7% every year. Don't worry. He'll have that debate with you. I can't fucking stand it. Yeah, because you got 75% of the arena that's a bunch of tourists, foreigners, and opposing teams fans. Don't even get me started on that topic. I love having that debate with people.
Dylan, you're the best. Appreciate you joining us. You got any final thoughts? And let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, feel free to follow me at NetsPress on Instagram. We're at 21.1K over there, so continuously growing, looking to hit 25K hopefully by sometime next year. That'd be nice. But feel free to follow me over there, BK Nothing But Nets podcast. That's our show with Gary and I. Feel free to subscribe to us over there. And if you want to have debates, argue, watch me say dumb shit, feel free to follow me on Twitter at NetsPressIJ.
There we go. Appreciate you all tuning in. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow. Fun guests coming up on Monday and Tuesday. Fred Katz of The Athletic joins us on Monday, and then Scoop Robinson joining us on Tuesday. So stay tuned for that. Smash the like button, hit subscribe right here on the Brooklyn Boys Show. That'll do it for us. He's Dylan. I'm your host, Connor Long. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. And as always, go Nets.